A defining characteristic of the human race is our propensity to seek more. This drive manifests itself universally, from the modern materialistic impulse to have the latest gadget, to the grand quest for the American dream, pursuing and achieving a better life through hard work. However, this desire to transcend cruel circumstance extends beyond the United States. Found internationally and throughout history, the rebels of the world are those who combine discontented longing with personal sacrifice and a fighting spirit to trigger real social change and growth. The lives of some such revolutionaries are chronicled in the historical fiction novel In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez, taking place in the Dominican Republic from the 1940s through 1960. The code-named Butterflies are the Mirabal sisters, Patria, Dede, Minerva, and Maria Teresa. Over the course of the novel, they are shown to make various sacrifices to oppose the reign of the tyrannical dictator of the Dominican Republic, Rafael Trujillo. Before the birth of what came to be known as the 14th of July movement, led by the Mirabal sisters against Trujillo, the Mirabal family is invited to one of Trujillo's balls. Following sexual harassment and attempted assault by Trujillo, Minerva slaps him across the face. This action is weighty, and due to Trujillo's mercurial moods and immense power, could threaten her life. Though risky, Minerva's resolve to maintain her dignity is reinforced through this personal assertion of her power and worth, allowing her to stand up for the rights of herself and her people through other such acts of defiance, like Minerva's central role in the formation of the movement against Trujillo. Unlike Minerva, who fights Trujillo by giving up security for preservation of her dignity, Patria subtly fights against El Jefe by sacrificing dignity for the security of another. She asks El Jefe for the safe return of her son Nelson from prison, and it is granted to her. However, in the process, she is forced to act kindly towards the despised Trujillo and his administration, but in the end, her son returns home safely. Showing the compassion to save another, even when it involves swallowing one's own pride, principles, or beliefs, takes much courage. Even though these two examples of defiance contrast starkly, they are just different means to the same ultimate end, the advancement of condition for the people of the Dominican Republic. On the other hand, this result can be achieved by means other than defiance towards the government. On the micro level of personal interactions, promoting and practicing compassion catalyzes societal development. Dede, the sole survivor of the Mirabal sisters following Trujillo's regime, spends her life after the revolution giving tours and providing information to tourists and the curious about her life and the lives of her sisters. This job dredges up painful memories for Dede, but she presses on, devoting her time to preserving the legacy of her sisters and the revolution. It is through this difficult recollection that Dede manages to ultimately arrive at inner peace with her sisters and their story. By educating the people of the painful history of her sisters, Dede manages to find personal growth, in addition to the evident social enrichment. Another Mirabal took up the sacrifice of educating the people as well. Upon discovering her half-sisters that her father, Enrique Mirabal, had sired extramaritally, Minerva notices that they are very poor, and decides to pay herself for the education of the girls. Minerva realizes that without an education, the girls will likely never move beyond their current state of poverty, and by giving up her money on behalf of their education, Minerva sacrifices for her ideals, helping to create the society she wishes to see. Today, another notable young woman advocates for the right of girls to education. Nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2013 and again this year, 16-year-old Malala Yousafzai of Pakistan has been protesting against the Taliban since the organization seized control of her native Swat Valley and began attacking girls' schools. At the young age of 11, she gave a speech titled, "How Dare the Taliban Take Away My Basic Right to Education?" and began anonymously blogging for the BBC about living under the oppressive Taliban, in a way not dissimilar to the diaries kept by Maria Teresa Mirabal, detailing her life under Trujillo. Also like the Mirabals, Yousafzai faced death threats from the Taliban. Shot by one of their gunmen, she was lucky enough to survive to continue her efforts for equality of women. Malala's act of speaking out against the government demonstrates remarkable courage, as well as selflessness. Though Malala champions a cause that benefits herself, she simultaneously endangers her life, making her advocacy for others far more than herself. Through this sacrifice, she inspired the creation of the Malala Fund, which focuses on providing educational resources to adolescent females in places where their opportunity is restricted, and aims to have all children around the world enrolled in school by the end of 2015. Malala's choice to fight for her cause ultimately led to societal growth caused by the Malala Fund, other such projects, and general heightened awareness of the issue. This growth is continuing around the world today, showing the difference one young girl can make for herself, her community, and the world when she makes sacrifices to help herself and the greater society. There is much to be learned from Malala Yousafzai and the equally iconic Mirabal sisters, namely, that acting upon the perfectionist impulse to mold the world into a better place can and will produce tangible results, whether it be opposing an oppressive government, terrorist organization, or simply assisting in the creation of a more compassionate world. After all, what is stopping us from being the Malala or Mirabals of our communities, and possibly the world?